Welcome back to another ukulele tutorial. I'm Lara, and today we're looking at the song Make You Feel My Love. This is a beautiful song, and we're going to look at 4 ways to play it, starting with an easy strumming pattern and then moving into 3 finger picking patterns. This song has 4 verses and 2 bridges. As we move through each of our 4 patterns, we'll take a look at different sections of the song and how to apply our pattern to the different sections. Throughout this lesson, you'll find the lyrics, chords, and patterns on screen, and you can download them as a PDF from my Patreon page. You'll find the link down below in the video description. I want to point out that I'm playing a tenor with a low G. If you have a high G on your instrument, you can follow this entire tutorial. Just keep in mind that your 4th string is 1 octave higher than mine, so the patterns will sound a little bit different on your instrument, particularly the finger picking patterns. Now let's take a look at the chords in this song and how to play them. If you're already familiar with these chords, then skip ahead to our first pattern. Our first chord is G. I'm playing G with my index and middle fingers on the 2nd fret of strings 3 and 1. Then I also have my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Next we have our D chord. To play D, I have my index, middle, and ring fingers on the 2nd fret of strings 4, 3, and 2. Next we're going to F. To play F, I have my index finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string and my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Next we have our C chord, 3rd fret of the 1st string. Then we have C minor. You can either play C minor with your index, middle, and ring fingers on the 3rd fret of strings 1, 2, and 3, or you can bar this chord with your index finger. You can also use your middle finger for additional support to play the bar chord if you need it. Next we have our A7 chord, which is the 1st fret of the 3rd string. And then we have D7. I have my index and middle fingers on the 2nd fret of strings 4 and 2. And finally we have our B7 chord. For B7 I have my index finger on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string, my middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, and my ring finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string. Our first pattern is an easy downstrum on every other beat. As an example, here are the first 2 lines of the first verse. When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case. Let's take a close look at this pattern and how to apply it to our first verse. For this first pattern, we're doing a downstrum on the 1st and 3rd of every 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because this is a sweet love song, I'm playing these downstrums as arpeggios or broken chords so that each string rings out. This gives a sweeter sound to the song versus doing a traditional downstrum. So try to play these arpeggios nice and slow. Taking a look at our first verse, every chord is held for 4 beats until we get to the 4th line. For line 4, our A7 chord is held for only 2 beats, so we're only going to do 1 downstrum on A7 and then 1 downstrum on D7. When we get to the G chord at the end of line 4, we'll play our full pattern, so 2 downstrums. Now I'll play through this first verse with the lyrics. When the rain is blowing in your face, and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. All four of the patterns that we're covering in this lesson consist of 4 beats. So if we look at any one of the patterns and how to apply it to a chord progression in a verse or a bridge, we could easily substitute any of the other 3 patterns because they're all played the same number of times. Our second pattern starts with an arpeggio, and then the rest of the pattern is finger-picked. As an example, I could hold you for 1,000,000 years to make you feel my love. Let's take a close look at this pattern and how to apply it to our second verse. Here's our second pattern, played slowly on a G chord. I'm starting with an arpeggio through all 4 strings, then I'm picking string 4 with my thumb, string 3 with my index finger, and then strings 1 and 2 together with my middle and ring fingers. The rhythm of this pattern is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Playing this pattern at the tempo of this song will sound like this. The chord progression for verse 2 is the same as verse 1. Every chord is held for 4 beats until we get to the final line. So for the first 3 lines, we'll play our second pattern once on each chord change. As an example, the first line, starting on G and then going to D, will sound like this. When we get to line 4, our A7 and D7 chords are only held for 2 beats each. So we have a couple options. We can either do an arpeggio on each chord, or we can finger pick all 4 strings at once. When we get to the final G at the end of line 4, we'll go back to our pattern. Now I'll sing through the second verse using the second pattern. When the evening shadows and the stars appear, and there is no one there to dry your tears, I could hold you for 1,000,000 years to make you feel my love. If you're enjoying this lesson, please give this video a like and thank you for subscribing. Feel free to leave any comments down below. It's always nice to hear from you. Now we've come to our third pattern. As an example, I'd go hungry, I'd go black and blue, I'd go crawling down the avenue. Let's take a close look at this pattern, how to apply it to our third verse and our first bridge. Here's our third pattern, played slowly on a C chord. I'm starting with my thumb on the 4th string, index finger on the 3rd string, strings 1 and 2 together with my middle and ring fingers, then going back to string 3, 4, 3, and finishing with strings 1 and 2 together. The rhythm of this pattern is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Bringing this pattern up to the tempo of this song will sound like this. Taking a look at our first bridge, every chord is held for 4 beats, except for the beginning of the second line. On the beginning of the second line, our B7 chord is held for only 2 beats, so we'll do 1 down strum, or you can fingerpick all 4 strings. And then our C chord after the B7 is also held for only 2 beats. Otherwise, the rest of the chords in this bridge are all held for 4 beats, so you can play the full third pattern on the rest of these chords. Now I'll sing through the bridge using this third pattern. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I would never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met, no doubt in my mind where you belong. Our third verse is played the same way as verses 1 and 2. We'll play our third pattern 1 time on every chord change until we get to the A7 chord on the 4th line. For A7, we'll do 1 down strum, or you can fingerpick all 4 strings, and we'll do the same on D7. Now I'll sing through the third verse using our third pattern. I'd go hungry, I'd go black and blue, I'd go crawling down the avenue. No, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. After the third verse, there's an instrumental that uses the same chord progression as the third verse. So you can play through this instrumental using any of our 4 patterns, or you can also skip it and go right from the third verse into the second bridge. And now for our 4th pattern. As an example, there is nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. Let's take a close look at this 4th pattern and how to apply it to our second bridge and our final verse. Here's our 4th pattern played slowly on a C chord. I'm playing strings 4 down to 1 with my thumb, index finger, middle finger, and ring finger. Then I'm going back to string 4, 3, and finishing on string 2. The rhythm of this pattern is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Bringing this pattern up to the tempo of this song will sound like this. The second bridge is played the same way as the first. It uses the same chord progression, and every chord is held for 4 beats, except for the B7 and C chords at the beginning of line 2. So for those 2 chords, we can do either a down strum, arpeggio, or we can pick all 4 strings. For the rest of the chords, we can play our 4th pattern. Now I'll sing through the second bridge using this 4th pattern. storms are raging on the rolling sea, and on the highway of regret, the winds of change are blowing wild and free. You ain't seen nothing like me yet. The first 4 lines of verse 4 are played the same way as verses 1, 2, and 3. We have 2 extra lines at the end. Lines 5 and 6 will be played the same way as lines 3 and 4. Now I'll play through this final verse using our 4th pattern. I could make you happy, make your dreams come true. There is nothing that I would not do. Go to the ends of the earth for you, to make you feel my love. There is nothing that I wouldn't do, to make you feel my love. I hope you've enjoyed learning 4 beautiful ways to play Make You Feel My Love. Have fun practicing, and thank you for watching.